Question.
Rank correct. Yep. Okay. Yep.
295. Would you trade all your paper books for digital versions?
Fuck off.
No.
Never.
No way. No way.
No, couldn't do it.
Never.
Dan?
No.
You see, apart from
So
the...
we're all bibliophiles. Yeah.
No, here's the thing. Apart from the ones that I have an attachment to now, I would.
Really?
Yeah.
I love
Yeah, but
a
the
rule
question
book.
at all.
No, but see, this is the
Questions
problem.
all day.
All,
Here's the
I'd
thing.
say no.
Yeah.
But I...
It's not even that. Real books are so much better.
Oh, they smell better. Everything.
Oh, yes.
It's more tactile. It's more holding a tablet and trying to read it, or even audiobooks. The thing, I don't get it. It sparkles your imagination in an audiobook, and I've got dyslexia, so I take forever to read a book, but I'd still rather read one.
I love my books.
Well, here's the thing. See, I've just bought three, maybe. Let's get 4 out for example. Okay, I've got 4 here, and I know there's another one somewhere, all signed by the author. You can't have that with a Kindle.
No.
You know, look, I've got. You know,
Yeah, but you can take a photograph and put it alongside.
It's not the same. You know that's not the same. But I've got this one here, the entirely accurate Encyclopedia of Evolution signed by the comedian Rob Newman. Got another one here, comedian.
Wait there. Are you a Newman and Baddiel fan?
Oh, man. Those
fuck
books
yeah.
I really look
I'm more of a Rob Newman fan, to be honest. But
fantastic.
and this one I'm particularly fan. This was the manifesto of this one here. It's the manifesto of the Black Panther Party back in the 60s.
Oh, cool.
And it is signed by David Hilliard, who was, for a little while, when Huey Newton was in jail, was leader of the Black Panther Party.
Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
Get out of town.
Right, just to catch up on the chat.
I'm not trading that for anything.
No, well, no. See, but those I keep those, but not necessarily for reading. Junk Shop says fuck no. Nerdy says yes, easy next. Betsy says I love the smell of books. Sammy says I don't read books, but I love collecting them, so no. 9 o'clock Hero says books don't need batteries. There are lots of fun things in a house that need batteries. Purple says apart from the ones I have an attachment to. My fiance. Go on.
I find it a lot more. I don't know. I just find it more pleasurable actually reading the book than reading like a Kindle or a screen or something.
I agree with that, but does that not make the book separate to the contents?
I don't know. I don't know if it does. I mean, contents are the contents no matter what. I mean, I appreciate for saving space. Yeah, it might be easy to have a few things on Kindle, but I don't know. It's just sometimes it's good to crack open a proper book. I don't know if I want to trade that.
No, I understand that it's environmentally better to go digital with books, but I just can't do it. I not entirely. I have some digital books, but it's just not the same. It's like what you were saying. They're musty. They have a smell. They have it. You get this tactile. All of these attachments to memory, right? That help. Like I wouldn't trade my copy of Watership Down that I've read over a dozen times for anything in the world. And it's just a shitty paperback copy of Watership Down, but I love it. I love that book, and that particular copy is mine. It's mine.
Yeah.
Right. And and my copy of the complete works of William Shakespeare I've had since I was a freshman in high school, and you've got all the bits where the spine's broken, all the bits I've reread. I taught Hamlet out of that same copy because I was, I've had it forever and I know it. I wouldn't.
Julie, I've actually been to Watership Down, so it's not far from where I live. Amazing.
It's so good.
Shadow Kitty.
It's a nice place, even if you don't know the
story.
To do with the book, yeah.
Shadow Kitty says most of my library is sheet music, so no. Richard Madsen says technical manuals only get better with new editions. No, they don't. That's why I burnt most of mine.
Hey, I'm a tech writer. Yes, I do. That's how I make my living, bud. Don't mess with my money. No, but that's another reason why I don't like to read on a screen, is because I literally do that all day long.
Oh, entirely.
Normally. Under normal world circumstances, that's what I'm doing for 8 hours a day.
I just find it a little bit more taxing on my eyes to read off the screen than I do off the book.
What about when we get a book that can write itself, that can change? The Harry Potter-esque. No, that's actual movement. But a book that could be anything.
Well, how about a book that can never be revised or changed? And it's not. I'm not talking about a religious book. A book that will stand the test of time no matter what.
There's no such book.
Well, great writing does that.
Well, I have a book that I can claim that will stand the test of time.
There is no grammatical or spelling mistakes in it.
Well, let's just say spelling and grammatical errors withstanding. Okay.
Okay.
Just the information alone in the book.
Yeah.
One book all by itself. It's an actual art book.
Fair enough.
That I have, and it just tells you how to draw dynamic figures of human beings.
Yeah.
Now, how could you replace that?
No, that's fair.
No, you couldn't. But that's. This is kind of the point.
And it's not a religious book. It's not a religious book. But this book,
unless
I could give this book to someone 50 years in the future, and they would still get the same information from it.
But it might mean you say the same information, but the context of the way of drawing might have changed. The information might mean something different.
No. The context and the drawing will never change because circles are still circles, right?
You would have said that about a maths book 20 years ago. And now how they teach maths now is completely different.
Math. I'm talking about an art book. I'm talking about.
No, I know you are, but I'm trying to. I agree. I don't disagree. I'm just trying to say that the context for which the book has meaning could change.
Yes, but the information within it will still remain the same.
Yes, it will, but it will always be. Yes, I'm going to agree. Just.
Well, I agree, but even with those sort of things, that there can be revisions where they just change a word or two. I mean, as people know,
No, but listen, if you draw a human figure, there's only one or two or three different ways to draw a human figure. And everyone who draws knows this. And there's only a certain form that you use for drawing dynamic figures.
Hold on, though. But I'm saying, when I say it can't be revised, it could be when I say a revision, it can be as simple as a thing as changing a word from "and" to "or" whatever. That's how.
Right, but that's not what I'm talking about.
I know that's.
I mean, the problem is, Sam. The problem is, what you're saying is coming under the definition of what we would call a technical manual, rather than what we're talking about as a book.
But it is a book.
But it's a technical book. It's a book that is.
It's not a book that's actually read.
Yes.
You don't read it. It's not a book you read.
My view on this question
does
is...
the book have to be a book that has to be read? That's another question. Can a book just be a picture book?
Technically, yes, but we are specific.
So how do you reinterpret the pictures? Then you would have to...
You could alter them slightly, though, couldn't you? It's not beyond the realms of possibility to just subtly alter a picture.
I mean, unless you're talking about explicitly a reference book that is referencing something from the past.
No, I'm talking about a book that is referencing the drawing and foredrawing of the human figure. There's no words. You don't need any words to describe it. If you just open the book, you don't need to read the book to learn how to draw. The book can show you how to draw without even reading it.
Yes, I don't disagree with that.
So does that transcend the meaning of what I'm talking about? I don't know. I don't know if that goes beyond the scope of the question.
Yes, a bit.
I don't know.
Because it goes down, like I say, it goes down the route more of a technical / reference, but rather than a
work of fiction.
Yes, but I'm not just thinking fiction, because you tend to get biographies and things like that, which again would come into the thing. Just we need to let Badger talk because we keep talking over him.
I was actually going to bring something up for Jen in a minute, but I'll let Badger come in first.
So wait, but what Richard said was not entirely incorrect, because he said that a manual, a technical manual that has been revised.
Yes.
That's what you read the comment, right? Critical,
yes.
Right, Dave?
Yes.
You read the comment?
Yes.
So Richard is not entirely incorrect, right?
Actually, again, I write those for a living, and when we get new information, that's when we revise them. We don't revise them just for, oh shit, somebody forgot a comma. You don't worry about that with technical manuals as much. It's when the engineers say, here is new information now that needs to go in here. So yeah.
Okay.
It's very different. It depends on what you're talking about. Like, I understand that there haven't been a lot of new techniques in art since we discovered perspective. Actually, I shouldn't even say that. I'm sure there are millions of new techniques in art. I suck at art, so I shouldn't say that. I retract that last statement.
There aren't many new techniques in art, actually.
No. Oh,
wait, we have to let Badger talk, because 3 seconds lagged.
Let Badger talk, then I'm going to say something for Jen's benefit, all right?
For my benefit?
Yeah.
Badger, go!
Alright, so books. My views on books are as follows. I would not replace any of my fiction books with a digital alternative. I would prefer a digital alternative, however, for things like reference books. For example, encyclopedias, dictionaries, and reference books for games, like for Dungeons and Dragons or Shadowrun or something like that. I would much prefer them in digital format so that I can search for the specific thing I need, rather than having to understand the fucking index because I'm dyslexic and I can't do it.
Yes.
However, I would still rather there be physical copies of those that exist, because I'm not 100% confident that digital things will last.
Yes.
You know, that they rely entirely on the infrastructure of society, whereas physical books don't, because you can store them and keep them from getting wet.
Yes.
Only if you can keep them in that condition.
I think that digital things will ultimately end up that way.
Right.
There are forms of digital writing now.
You may be able to securely store.
Yes, but you still need the computer to read it.
Yes.
Yes, but you still need the equipment to read it.
You may be able to securely store. You may be able to securely store your entire library of human knowledge on a piece of crystal, but if I don't have a crystal reader, then that's completely useless to me.
Yeah, the infrastructure isn't required for the thing. A text file is perfectly good for storing things. You can store it on a chip in a text file, but if you have no mechanism to read it, it's a piece of silicon. It may as well be sand. Wait, 2 seconds.
I didn't expect to have this kind of reaction to this question. I really did. But...
That's what happens a lot on these streams, though.
They go everywhere.
So what was your...
Could I just say something?
Yeah, go on.
Jen? This is kind of for Jen's benefit, but here's how I think books should be done. That we should adopt non-literature. Means every book has to be copied by hand on paper precisely in the original language, including the coffee stain Mr. Garibaldi spilled on Jakar's book. I told you Jen would get that.
I agree.
I'm glad Jen was the only one who got that.
But I don't speak. Learn.
That was the least tech, because then less people would have them, and then we'd have less idiots. Although that didn't work in the Dark Ages, did it? So.
But you know the whole the Babylon 5 thing with the Narns or whatever that it was like. Yeah,
Yeah,
I don't read Narn. Learn.
Yeah,
It's fantastic.
it's like you couldn't translate a book into another. It had to be copied by hand, exactly how the original was. And like when Jakar wrote his book or whatever, like when Mr. Garibaldi was looking over his notes, he accidentally spilt some coffee on it. So every single copy, he had to like have a little bit of coffee spilt on the curtain.
Yes.
To be reproduced precisely how Jakar wrote it.
Yeah.
Excellent example. Yes.
I like that. Hissy says, it's impossible to take notes on digital books properly. She also says, digital books don't display images, etc. properly like in comics.
Speaking of which, Hissy and I, we haven't set a time yet, but we're going to be talking comics in a day or two, so...
Are you?
Watch this space. Yeah.
Oh, nice.
We just haven't set the time up quite yet, but that's coming up.
All right.
Jen.
Talking Asterix specifically.
Specifically.
Yeah, sorry, that's easy for me to say.
I know.
I can't even say.
No, I think I'm not. I was just going to say, basically no one says they're going to switch all their books to digital.
No, absolutely not.
No, we're all selfish book lovers. Can't do it.
Not
I'm
in a
trying-
million years.
And here's the thing I will also say on that. Even some of those books that I've got that don't have the signatures of the author, with some of them, there's a chance that I might run into the author, and you never know. You get this. Okay, some of them I know that. Okay, like Douglas Adams, obviously I'm never going to run into him because on the fact that he's dead. But you know what I mean. But someone like I don't know, so Mark Thomas, I could easily I might run into him one day and get him to sign one of the books that I've already have.
I've got Mark Thomas's signature.
I've got that thing.
I've got Mark Thomas's signature on a ticket to a show I saw him from in 92 or 3.
I've got 4 of his books in front of me. I'm looking at right now.
I would like to have copies of every pre-Disney Star Wars book, so that I can just read those.
There are no pre-Disney Star. Excuse me. There are no pre-Disney. There are no pre-Disney Star Wars book. They're not Star Wars. They're something
I
else.
disagree.
They're not canon.
Nothing Disney has created is Star Wars. Everything before Disney is the only
Badger,
true
you
Star
want to
Wars.
read the old school good Star Wars books? Come visit us.
Do you know how many
I think
times?
Junk Shop had most of them.
Do you know how many times I have to put Star Wars and Disney tags in my videos?
I also the only
Just leave the Disney ones out. They're shit.
the only new canon Disney books I've enjoyed is the new Thrawn trilogy. That's about it.
Yeah, but the guy who wrote them, the guy who wrote the new Thrawn trilogy, wrote them specifically so that they could fit with either the original Thrawn books or the new stuff.
Well, he wrote the original.
I read an interview with him where
yeah.
he specifically stated that they were written to fit with the old ones.
Yeah, Timothy Zahn. Yeah, because he actually was the guy who created Thrawn as a character. So
Timothy Zahn's great.